Hi, so it's me again. Um, Clearly, I am in a different mindset than I was yesterday. I realized a lot throughout my life that there are a lot of ways that I process anger and grief and all of the emotions that we go through, whether we have children or not. And my way of processing is the most effective for me is to grieve. And I take my one day, to grieve, and then I, probably more so after I had kids, realized that your family needs you, your kids need you, and for certain situations such as Sienna's issues with the school, my time that I allow myself to grieve is one day. I know it's crazy, right? Like, to each their own. And I said, you know what? I can only remove myself so much and allow myself to be removed so much from my family because they need me. They depend on me, and Sienna needs me and depends on me. And like, so does my husband and my baby, who's 4. And I can't remove myself from them. And I have to decide to check it at the door, right? Like, you check your shit at the door, truly. Excuse me. Like, you can't bring your shit into your home. And that has been a practice that I've tried and have yet to master, but I'm getting better. So yesterday was my day of grieving. I cried it out. I got angry. I got everything I had to say out. And unbeknownst to me, like, this is kind of therapeutic. And so I've always had this kind of like weird thing about people vlogging. And there was never any like opinion on it. It was just like, why do people throw it out there? And I kind of realized, at least for me, vlogging, going live, doing all these things is not for like attention. It's more for like awareness, and it truly serves as its own form of journalism or your diary, let's just say. The benefit of it is that if you post it, you know that you're going to get comments, and the intent is not to get the attention. In my opinion, the intent is to be able to relate. And it's very therapeutic. You know, you can be vulnerable, and you can relate to thousands, by the way, of emails and comments and people sending me messages privately, emails, like I said, because people are afraid. But anyways, it's a resource I think that a lot of people use, and at least for myself, I can say I will be using this platform a lot to kind of navigate through this. And maybe somebody will listen, maybe they don't, maybe they think I'm crazy. Anyways, but if you can relate and you like listening, keep listening. Subscribe and share, because I'm going to try and keep up with this. If it's not for you guys, it's for myself, because it's therapeutic. And there's always going to be somebody out there who can relate to your story in some form or fashion. And it just makes you feel like it's not just you. Anyways, long story short, yesterday I go through my grieving process. I'm angry. Everybody sees me blasting all over the internet and social media and all these social media platforms. And I had a ton of people reaching out to me, whether it was words of encouragement, standing by my side and cheering me on. And then I had those who were just kind of like, you know what, you've empowered me to throw in the towel too. And we've gone through what you've gone through. Maybe it's not like exactly like what I've gone through. No two stories are alike. No story is any greater than the other, and no story is any better than the other. It's the fact that it's just pattern. It's practice, right? Like, we all go through it in our own ways, and it affects us in varying forms. But the fact of the matter is that it continues to happen, and we can all relate to that. And so, anyway, I did a little session with a couple of parents that's private, and I said, because I wanted to respect their anonymity, and I said, listen, what you guys are doing is like, that's amazing. Like, you can file all of these state complaints. When I first filed my state complaints, I said, I'm gonna get them. They failed my kid and da-da-da-da-da. And lo and behold, like, I prevailed twice. Yay, good job, right? Like, you get that paper back, and you're like, I won. I knew that they weren't educating my child. You want to see me to the fullest, like, being mom, because this is like real life. What do you need, Sienna? Please don't. I'm busy. Goodbye. Love you.
Can we open a pack before we...
Sure, if Daddy says it's okay. I don't care about Fluky Mom right now, but I love you. Anyways. Mom life. I realized that, like, I told them, I said, if you guys really want to make a change, this has nothing to do with being anonymous or not. It has nothing to do with any of you guys, like, fighting your fight in the way you fight, because truth be told, we're all doing the same thing, and we're all doing it in different ways, and we're all doing it for the same purpose, I think. And when I say I think, there's a reason why. If you truly want to advocate and you truly want to stand up and make change, the change that we all talk about, it's not a change for self-service, self-preservation, feast or famine, right? Like, that's not the true nature, in my opinion, of change. I think that everybody fights for their kids and the rights of their kids, and you should, obviously, like, right? And if that's what you want to do and it's just for your kids, that's fine. Do what you got to do, how you got to do it. But don't sit and advocate, say that you're advocating when you yourself have answers in your back pocket. In my opinion, and this is my fight, right? Like, I know I'm going to get a lot of backlash and heat. Really, again, don't care. Because, again, I respect everybody's fight and their way of fighting, and we're all doing it for the same purpose. Advocacy doesn't mean that you have to do what I'm doing. Advocacy doesn't mean that you have to go public with it. Advocacy doesn't mean that you have to be vocal about it. Advocacy doesn't mean that you have to make a scene. No. I had I had an epiphany, and I realized through a conversation with a girlfriend that my form of advocacy and my belief of the truest form of advocacy isn't helping parents through meetings. For me, right? My self-fulfillment is not helping parents through meetings. It's not going to the school and being like, hey, here's IDEA, here's 504, this is wrong, da-da-da-da-da. Because in my experience for myself, I don't get anywhere, right? Like, we don't get anywhere. It's just, what's the point? Had I gotten somewhere with it, it'd be very different, right? Like, I would have a different stance, I think, maybe. Well, yeah, I would, right? Because I would have no reason to have any negative thoughts about the process. And so I said, truly, the way of advocating is saying, like, listen, I have parents reaching out to me. My phone blows up. Never in a million years would I have thought. I never claimed to be an advocate. I never claimed to be, I will never give legal advice because I'm not an attorney. And the only time I ever post or talk is, publicly, is because of my experience and the experience and my beliefs of how I've been driving this train. And I've gone nowhere thus far, right? Like, truly. So we're no different. I'm no better. No. Nobody's conquered this beast. I just want to try it at a different angle. And my angle is the truest form of advocacy is somebody reaching out to me and saying, my kid has your same exact IEP. Yes, it's individualized. But at the same time, they have the same diagnoses. I mean, like, truly parallel IEPs. But, like, one parent's like, let me give you a better case. I have a parent who has a child who's nonverbal autistic. And here I am sitting with a kid who is verbal, nowhere on the spectrum, no Asperger's, has learning disabilities, needs some social skills, has a venous malformation in her brain, but, like, at least she's able to speak, right? Like, she speaks, like, she puts a thought in her head and she can say what she's thinking. And here you have another kid who can do the same thing, except what? They can't speak, they can't use their words, and they have no way of communicating because more oftentimes than not, I've heard that the schools remove their communication devices, which baffles my mind. Like, I don't even want to go there. And I'm like, wait a minute. Wait, did you just tell me that you have a nonverbal autistic child and you're requesting a para? They're like, yeah. And I go, so what did they tell you? They go, no, they said we can't have a para. And we've been fighting to have a para for my nonverbal autistic child because we need them. Or I have a deaf or blind child, or I have all of these things that truly, truly deem necessary to have a para. In my case, if I had somebody reach out to me and the district said, and it was the truth, that they couldn't afford to have a para because I have that para for somebody who really needs a para, I would give up that para in a heartbeat, right? Like I would give that para up because the one who truly needs it is the kid who can't speak, the kid who can't get dressed, the kid who can't like hold a pencil, the kid who needs extra therapies. Like, by the grace of God, and I thank God every day, especially getting to know this community, that there are so many kids who really need that parent. I almost feel guilty, but again, we live in this like feast or famine kind of life where we become like self-serving, and this has been a value that I've learned, and a lesson that I've learned, that if we all pull at strings in desperation of trying to get our kids serviced and accommodated, and we'll do whatever we can with no ill intent. And the ill intent comes when a parent reaches out to me desperate. They're like, Joy, we really want your help. We want you to advocate. And I said, listen, guys, I'm not an advocate. Like, I'm truly not an advocate. I know just as much as you guys do, if not maybe less. Like this, I've learned, I've been in the system for the last 5 years, and I've learned how to navigate, how to try and navigate on my own this last year. And I still have so much to learn that I would never call myself an advocate. I'm like a family empowerer. Anyways, I realized, like, how can you truly advocate for someone? And I said, like, okay, here, fine. You know what? Like, I really don't need this para, but I'm desperate for somebody to help my kid because you're not willing to service or accommodate her. What else can I do to ensure that somebody's overseeing the work that she's doing, somebody's helping her, and somebody's making sure that, she does all these things? And if it's not the teacher, then then maybe a para can help. But then I have this person saying they said no to a para, but yet you have a nonverbal autistic child who has no way of communicating because they took away their communication device, and here I am with a para. I'm gonna call it out, right? Like, no, to me, that's not equity. That's not equity. There's nothing equal about that. It is discriminatory to it's disgusting. It's egregious that you would deny a child a para who truly needs a para, and yet you'll give it to my kid? Why? Why would you do that? Why would you just give it to my kid but not give it to another kid? I'll look at my IEP and I'll look at my services if somebody calls me out and they're like, I want help. Mom moment. I'm on the phone. I'll be done in a second. Close.
You can't bother me.
Well, okay. Cool. I mean, like, I can't even pee or poop without a kid coming in the room, right? So, like, don't expect to hear. Anyways, so that's like the truest form of advocacy is like, if you get a service and you know that a family really needs that same service, and while they are individual, if they're individual, then why are you treated like a whole? Like, why is everybody educated as a one size fits all approach if it's truly individualized, right? So I will point out, and this is my new thing, it's not fair to that kid who has severe autism to not get a para, who has nonverbal autism. And I'm learning all of these lingos, by the way. Not lingos. I'm learning all these diagnoses and the things that come with them. So please forgive me if I'm not PC. Educate me, please. But it's really pointing out like the inequities in education. That's truly the way of doing it, is like you call it out the way it is and you become that sacrificial kind of lamb, right? I have a problem looking at myself in the mirror, so that's why I always look away. And I'm looking at myself in the mirror right now, basically. Anyways, so here's the thing, right? Like that was one epiphany. Here's another epiphany that I had that I'm sure is going to get a lot of backlash and a lot of heat. And I'm not here to blow smoke up your ass. If you're on my page, you're on my page for a reason, because I'm going to give you the cut dry truth. Like, in my opinion, right? That doesn't mean that it's right. My opinion is that you guys right now, mind you, I've only gotten here, so I can't say whether this is going to work. It doesn't work. I can't say that. I will never say that I'm better. I will never say anything. We are right now at a moment of power. We are at the end of the school year. And while not everybody has the opportunity or the means to fight it like I do, whether it's time, because guys, I'm a stay-at-home mom, whether it's mental, emotional time, guys, I'm medicated. Like, thanks to CBS, right? No. Like, truth be told, like, throughout this process, I've had to start taking antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication, and I've never been on it a day in my life. So, and if I have, it was like for like literally like 2 weeks, and I'm like, I don't need this, right? But this time I truly have had to take some antidepressants and be on them, and I'm still on them, and every now and then I'm like, crank up the dose, because that's the reality of life, right? So anyways, where was I going with this? Hashtag ADD. The reality of it is that you guys, we're all in a position of power right now, where the schools were fearful, rightfully so. We're fearful of retaliation because it's real. There's no denying that, clearly. We're fearful of discrimination because it's real. Take your next 3 months and use it for a place of power, because your kids aren't going to be in school. What are you afraid of, right? Like, what are you afraid of? This is a reality I had to have with myself that I once feared before, like fear of retaliation, fear of discrimination, fear of your reputation, fear of it coming back on your kid. But truth be told, like, with or without the means, financial means, we all have choices, and look at your choices and decide, like, do you have a McKay? Can you get a McKay? If you can get a McKay, then okay, find another school for your kid and fight that fight, so you're not worried about the retaliation and whatnot. You know, if you qualify for McKay, and if you're like, you know what, I want my kid to go to a better school than what McKay has to offer, because, you know, I'm only getting $8,000 out of McKay. Like, look at your finances and decide, like, can you afford to pay the difference? And if you can, great. And if you can't, that's okay too. Are you willing to sacrifice a few months and put your kid in a McKay school till you navigate through this and you fight this fight, right? Where you take them out of your fear of retaliation and you put them somewhere else, in a private school. Can you sacrifice that, whether you can or can't afford it? Look at your other options. Can you find another family member, you know, who can help take care of your kids? Who can you find? Do you need to find a second job? Do you need to, like, all of, like, you gotta, like, explore your options and not shut yourself down to the possibilities. And then the other thing that I was thinking was, like, you know, why are we so scared to fight this fight? And I'm going to tell you why we're scared to fight this fight. It's always a David and Goliath fight, right? It's always that. It's always like, oh, be careful. You're going to get sued by the school. You're going to lose all of this. You're going to da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But, like, if you hear yourself and you hear me, that's the reputation they have, because that's what they do, maybe, right? But have we ever come to them and been like, like, screw you, do whatever? Have you ever challenged them? Has anybody ever outright challenged them and been like, fine, okay, you're David and Goliath, like, okay, cool, right? You're gonna sue me for what? Advocating for my kid? Okay, cool. You know, if it's, sorry, Mom, I'm like, can I help you?
Are you almost done?
Clearly.
Because, Dad wants to know if you're almost done, because, before, crawfish is almost gonna be closing.
I don't think so, but I'm almost done.
Can we open Pokemon?
Go for it.
Dad won't let us.
Oh my God, it's just Pokemon.
Dad won't let us because you have to come.
I'll be right there. Sorry, I'm exhausted. My husband wants to open up Pokemon cards. Anyways. Have we ever like really just fought the fight and been like, you know what, we're fighting something that's a reputation, and while they probably have, they've sued, you know, like what if I didn't fight it back? So what? What if I didn't fight back and hire an attorney? What would have been the worst course? It's on my record that a school. Have you ever been involved in a lawsuit? Yes. What happened? The school district sued me. Why? Because I prevailed in a state complaint because they failed to educate my child. And so the school district attorney and the school board decided to sue me and my kid and my family individually. Like, do you really think that people are going to be like, ooh, like you're whatever? Like, no, I've never been involved in a lawsuit before, ever. I have never sued anybody. I've never been sued. And this is the first time. I don't know, guys. I like, here's my mindset is like this. We have to start a revolution. God forbid, right? You use that word knowing somebody, they're going to read it out of context. So let me be very clear. Your revolution is one of voice, not one of harm, not one. Lord only knows where this is going to go. Go screw yourself here. Look, honestly though, like true story. We got to start some type of a vocal war. I will say that, where we are very professional. We stand up against this. And if you're going to stand up for it, you have proof. Be able to back yourself up and show whatever you're alleging. You have proof of it. You have proof of it. And just be vocal about it. Just put it out there. And if you don't want to put it out there, guys, again, I think this might be my thing. Like, okay, fine. Like, so what? Give it to me. Give it to me. I will lead this fight. Look, I don't care. I will lead us in that direction. And here's the shitty part, though. Here's the shittiest of the shitty part. Do you realize, like, what we're fighting for? If you really think about it, I think this is why I'm so passionate about it, right? Like, I just want to send my kid to school. I want to send her to school, and I want to get what I got, right? Which is like my parents put me on a bus. They sent me to school, got my education. I grew up in Monroe, Louisiana. Like, times were tough for me because, again, all sorts of vulnerability out here. Like, my brother and I are Hispanic Jews. And so we grew up in Monroe, Louisiana, and we received a lot of discrimination growing up in Louisiana, and a lot of racial comments, you know, but I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. Who knows? I just think that we need to stop being scared, and we need to just throw ourselves out there. And I'll fight the fight for you. Like, I really don't care. You don't want me to put your name out there, but you want me to put your story out there. The only way I'm going to put your story out there is if you can prove it to me and we redact your information. I don't care what state you live in, right? Like, clearly I'm going to focus on Orange County because it's where I live. But this is not just about Orange County. Read the news. Follow the news, right? This is a systemic issue. It is a national systemic issue, guys. It's an issue, right? Like, you can't, whatever you do in your job, unless you're your own boss, like, you can't go to work and screw up without somebody holding you accountable. I can't go at work as a nurse and not take care of my patients or give them half the dose of medication, right? Like, somebody holds me accountable. And we pay taxes, like, we pay their positions, right? So, like, you're allowing people to get away with your money. You work hard for that money. I don't care where you work. I don't care what you do. You pay taxes, you work for it. I don't care how much money you pay into taxes. You pay taxes, you pay for their seats. You know, and it's time to start holding these people accountable and calling it for what it is and not being afraid, and just, like, completely changing the system of inequity and discrimination and retaliation and start putting up a fight that's truly a fight. And it's a fight with a cause and community and, you know, national cause and teacher, and you back your teachers up, guys. So many times I hear that it was the teacher's fault. You guys don't understand. This is not about your teachers. Could be in some cases. I'm not saying all teachers are innocent, right? Just like we're not innocent, but you got to understand that these teachers are under a lot of pressure. They're under a lot of pressure to comply and follow the rules. And if they don't, their little $45,000 a year salaries, they're going to lose their livelihood. They don't go and do this to make money. They don't. I don't know anybody who's ever been a teacher who's like, the money's great, right? Like, no. We're appreciated. Far and few between, right? Like, stop with the whole teacher stuff. I mean, I can honestly tell you, like, I've had very little instance with my teachers, but it was never anything that was beyond repair. I've had to, unfortunately, I'm going to throw this out there, right? And I hope I get justice for them. I truly do. Because I haven't forgotten about you. I haven't forgotten about Sienna's third grade teacher, her second grade teacher. Like, I truly, life-changing teachers. And every day I think about, like, how public I've had to go and how much I've had to say that has impacted their lives and stress. I have proof to show you. Like, that was never my intent. And I will make it right. I will make sure that these teachers are taken care of, and I will apologize to you, but I'm going to apologize to you for advocating for my child, and I'm also going to apologize to you for having to go through this and drag you through the middle of it when I know your hearts are in it. Like, you would have advocated for my child, you know. Some of them, I'll tell you what, I got those witness statement backs about her stupid commentary about me. That's the other thing I want to clarify, right? So this isn't about Sarah Corn calling me or implying that I'm a racist. Like, that's not what it is. Sarah Corn's actions have had a direct impact on the future success of my child within the public school system. So this has nothing to do with what she said about me. I don't care what she said about me. Like, I truly don't. The problem is that her words have damaged my daughter and myself within the school district, and she has caused a contentious relationship between myself and her teachers. And it truly wasn't there before. It wasn't. And she damaged it, right? And so, and she damaged my daughter's career or academic career at Orange County Public Schools for the rest of her life. I can't even get her into a private school right now, honestly, that will take McKay. Even one that I said I'll pay for, they won't take us because of her story and my advocacy, and that's okay. But anyways, my whole thing is, guys, is like, IEP meetings, do them, try it, speak up, talk about it, be open about it. No more what a board meeting's gonna do. Nobody's listening to you. And if they are, by all means, I want you to encourage your people to do what you're doing, because in your community it may work, but in mine it doesn't. That's my story for today, and I'm sticking to it. Meanwhile, I'm going to be off topic and have ADD moments because I too need an IEP. I am feeling better today. I appreciate everybody's love and text messages and encouragement, and thus far, no backlash. You know, find some teachers who will come forward, who will share their experiences, who aren't afraid to lose their jobs. You know, that's gonna be really hard to find, because that's a little bit of money and a bit of life to lose just in advocating. But I am most certain there is somebody out there who's willing to do it. Anyways, never in a million years would I thought that I'd go from being a nurse to doing this, and never in a million years did I think that I was going to be vlogging on social media. But listen, power in numbers, power in people, power in social media. I guess that's the way to get it. Desperate times call for desperate measures. My love and heart to you all, and we will conquer this. All the moms that are crying today and stressed, go be with your family. Go appreciate your kids. Easier said than done, and I should probably take my own advice. So I'm going to go and eat some crawfish. Love you all.